style, sell with Sue. It's your move.
Hello and welcome to another episode of No Place Like Home. And today I want to ask you to think about what makes your house feel like a home to you, to your family, to guests when they come in. And I want you to think about that because for the next few minutes, I'm going to speak with Kate Hanson. Now, I heard her speaking at a conference, loved her session. Thank you, Kate. And she has a background in psychology and education like that, but she has a foreground in success and wellness and how to get there and what it really means. She helps people transform their lives. And today we're going to talk about how to take those principles and transform our home, wherever your home is, whatever stage you're at. So, welcome, Kate. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you so much, Sue. I am so honored to be here as a guest of yours.
I'm pleased to have you. And so, now fill us in a little bit about who you are. You have a family, say whatever's on your mind. And then I'm going to start asking you some questions.
Amazing. First thing that usually comes to mind is being a mom. My favorite hat that I wear, my favorite role, my favorite purpose. I have two beautiful girls who we were just talking earlier, two teenagers. So we're even going through the fun age, and I still adore their little faces every morning, even when I'm getting
Wow.
rolled eyes. Um, Aside from that, I have a very handsome husband with the most gorgeous megawatt smile, and um, he and I met when we were in our very first jobs out of university in a corporate environment. And who knew when we fast forward 19 years that we'd both be self-employed and loving that journey with each other. So right now it's the four of us, but we have a huge family support network in the city that we live in, which is a blessing. Speaking about homes and moving, and it's nice to have all those people around. But other than that, I get to work on my purpose and my projects that really fill me up.
Nice. And so you are the founder and the CEO of your own company where do you say that you help others transform their lives? What's your sort of tagline for your company?
Yeah, it's an interesting situation that I'm working through here, Sue. What I do is I work with highly ambitious people who are driven. They know what they want. They have been accomplished already. They created a lot of success in their life. But one of the things that maybe got missed was mental health. And I got here over the years through my own journey, as many of us do, from having a complete mental breakdown while achieving, while everybody outside of me thought my life was perfect. I had a complete meltdown actually physically in a grocery store that was a big pivot moment in my life where I had to change something. And I never, ever want another person who has big dreams and goals. That's on your heart for a reason. But if you don't take care of all of you, then your journey there might not even happen, but it might be harder than it needs to be. So I really do attract ambitious people who are just trying to get clarity around how they can do it, but still not lose themselves.
Yeah, I remember you sharing that story at the conference and how refreshing to hear someone admit that they're having a breakdown, in a public place. And, people can see it. That's not something we usually post on social media. It happens behind closed doors and it
Yes.
happens in the privacy of our own homes. And here I just want to be real about that. And what do we need and what does it take to make our house a safe place where we don't have to be, air quote perfect all the time?
Yes. Yeah, I think that's a really important subject. It's like home is an extension of us. And you hear your environment is a reflection of what's going on inside of you. I've read this a lot in different studies about students that if they look at their desk, the way that it's organized or not, stuff's missing, ripped up, that's kind of a reflection of what's going on inside of them. When somebody's mental health is suffering, you'll notice they're showering less often. They're not taking as good of care of their hygiene or their clothes. Our environment says a lot about how we're doing. And so I think this is a really important subject about aligning your
Mm.
home with what you want, how you want to show up and feel.
Yeah, well, let's help people become a bit more conscious about that, as I have when I heard you talk, and I just thought it was so interesting. I had to have you on. So, maybe let's start, explain your relationship with home and how it's evolved from your childhood to now.
Yeah, actually, this was something that I had thought about all through my life because since I was born, my dad, as a very ambitious, successful person, with his career progression, we moved every 2 to 4 years. We started in a town, and I might have the wrong numbers, but I believe the population was around 3,800 people. Like it was a small town. And then his first jump, we went to a very small city, North Bay, Ontario. I'm not sure if you're familiar with it. It was smaller when
No.
I lived there. From there, we moved to a slightly bigger city, to Sudbury, Ontario. And then, even within those moves, we had multiple moves based on his success. We'd get the bigger home. And it was wonderful. As a child, I got to benefit from that. But they said, we promise you, you never have to move again. But we're moving to Winnipeg, Manitoba. And I thought, oh my goodness. So I stayed for my first year university and I was so homesick, not for a building, but for my family. And I realized with all that moving, it was never about a building for me, it was about the people. And so that was kind of my figuring out
Mm,
what home is. My friends growing up all had been in the same home since they were born. Some of them were in the house their parents were born and raised in.
yeah, yeah.
And I thought that was amazing. That's so beautiful. Like the memories, the history. But actually, and now I told my husband when we met, listen, I'm a gypsy. You won't be able to keep me still. I'm going to get bored. I need to move. And so we built a 5-year home. That was our plan. And then, yeah, we're still in that house 16 years later. And
Oh,
yeah, my
that's
definition of home has evolved again.
now that's surprising to me because studies show that wherever we grew up, the neighborhood, the city, that we often have a familiarity with that. We have a comfort with that. And very often when we grow up, we have a subconscious yearning kind of to go back because it's comfortable, it's familiar, so we feel good there. And in fact, like right now, I have someone taking possession next week of a little condo that she wanted to move back to the neighborhood she grew up. Actually, myself also, when I moved back to Calgary over 20 years ago, I was born here. Why did I feel compelled to move here? So that's interesting that you were able to stay.
Yeah, like we maybe had a couple arguments about it over the years, but it's fine. I change paint colors and move furniture. We're always looking. We joke where our poor realtor has been showing us places for about 8 or 9 years, but we are waiting for the next right step. I also had my parents say, Kate, it's not as good as it looks when you're on the adult side of it, the responsible side of it, the moving costs, and then the actual new home costs, and was it worth it? Or was it just to show success? And so they always planted those seeds, but I still had that yearning for outwards reflection of your progress.
Yeah.
And so it's an interesting, like I still battle with that all the time because our house is precious. We use every inch of it because of its size, but it's
Yes.
loved. Every corner of it is loved.
Well, when you create what I like to call a sanctuary, no matter where your four walls are, you can create that sanctuary. We have that feeling, that instinct within us. For example, when a woman is pregnant, and it's
Yeah.
so common, it's called a nesting instinct that we need to create our space. But as a realtor who is showing people spaces a lot, I have really, I guess, become aware that in the beginning stages, I need to know that we might be going out a lot because it's hard for people to be conscious of what they're looking for. And so sometimes there's a bit of time in the process where they're looking and realizing, oh, no, I don't want that, and discovering what they do want.
Yeah, absolutely. You think you know, and then there's nothing out there that is as perfect as we all expect. But that's where I find the clarity of deciding what your non-negotiables are or what you really want. We set goals, we have this vision of our future, but we don't take into consideration the practicalities of it. If you want to be a world
Yes.
traveler, but then you go and buy an $8 million house, perhaps that's limited how much you can travel. Or if you want a nice house, but you're traveling all the time, like you have to be clear on what is my goal so that you can be intentional with your time, your energy, and your money.
Yes, now I think you know someone who had I recall a story we were chatting about. She wanted to live on a lake, but then discovered, tell me that story.
Yeah, she was actually a coach of mine who changed my life from her coaching. But she shared a fascinating story of um, she saved like a lot of her career was about saving for this cottage. She said a lot of people where she lives, they all want cottages. Everybody's that's their aim. That's your like token. I've done it, I'm successful. And she finally raised the money after years of work and effort. And she's looking at these cottages and she said she was standing out on the deck and she thought, oh my gosh, I don't want a cottage. I want to travel. And she said it just hit her like I was chasing other people's goals. This isn't even my goal.
Wow. Oh my gosh, what a big aha.
Yeah. And so, you know what it made me think, Sue, is that go and see your dream home. Like if you see a dream home, go and see it and feel it. Is it actually your dream home or is it someone else's? But if it
Yeah.
is, it gives you so much information about what you need. Like I tell my clients, go and price out your goal, and that's how you come up with a money goal. What is the property tax on that house? What is the insurance on that house? Come up with a whole budget. Okay, for that to happen, how much money do you need? Like reverse structure your goals, but then you can have that dream home. We all can do it. You just have to plan for it properly, not just pie in the sky. That's what I want with no idea of what it costs.
Yeah. What are the real costs of it to put your dreams into reality? You can make your house your home. You can make your dream your reality in a space by doing, lots of things. Do you have anything around that that you have noticed in your own space?
Yeah, that comes a lot with that whole, do I need to go bigger? Do I need to change my space for me to be feel like I'm successful or showing progress? But I thought for myself, I envisioned I'm an artist. I would love a painting studio. I'm an author. I'd love like a space for myself. And when I stopped thinking about what house do we need to buy and I looked at my current house, there was spaces that I could easily change and make them more intentional. And it excited my whole family. It triggered ideas for them creatively of what they want to learn to do, a new instrument, a new sport. And so it is like I've always heard until you're grateful for what you have, you're not going to attract more. And when you make the
Mm,
most of what you have, you've increased the value of your own home,
yeah.
but you're also attracting more. And somebody will look at your home and think, oh my God, that's my dream.
Yeah. That's interesting because I also have some clients who, like you, have been looking around for years. And so it
Oh,
really
I'm
begs the
sorry, Sue. That
question.
must be
Yeah.
tough.
Well, we don't get paid if we don't sell a house. So they become friends,
Yeah.
but maybe there's so much that they like, or if you're comfortable in a lot of aspects, but you just think you want more because you should want more, or
Yeah.
because, yeah, you want another space when really, can you change the space you're in and make it how you want it? Like, we have lived in our house now for almost 10 years, and just this week, I reached out to a tile guy because the tile in my ensuite shower, I have never liked it. And I guess we have never thought, well, let's just change it if we don't like it. When you buy a house, a lot of people get stuck, like we did, in this is how the house is. I went and looked at tile the other day, and my life just feels brand new. I can
Yes.
choose any tile to go in our ensuite shower, and I'm going to love it. But just that awareness, like, hey, if you changed something in your house, would you like it even more?
Yeah, I think we talked about this briefly before, but Bob Proctor, a Canadian thought leader, unfortunately he passed, I believe, a year or two ago. He had a great story about he went to people's house and they said, "Oh, we hate these drapes." And he said, "That can't be true. If you've told me you kept them for 20 years, you must love them." And he said, "Because if you didn't, you would do something about it." And he said he came back and the spouse was telling him, don't say anything. And everything was new. The couch was new, the drapes were new, but they were happy again. whereas they weren't feeling happy. And it's like, again, your environment reflects how you feel. When we keep thinking, oh, I'm waiting for better, you're missing the point of right now. You can still
Hmm.
make your right now space fill you up and make you feel inspired.
Sure. Even while you're on the way or making a
Look,
plan, I know I have coffee with a group of ladies once a month, and one lady is living in the basement suite of one of her children right now. And so, you might say it kind of sheepishly, oh, I'm living with my kids. But her little basement suite is just the essence of who she is. It is just a total expression of this
oh,
wonderful, like, it just feels charming, like small town. She has her special things in it. And so it really shouldn't matter, but we have these like external expectations we feel we're supposed to rise up to. No, not at all. What are some things you love about your home?
you know what? I love in our home that we use every piece of it. There's not a section that we don't use. And I mean that like lovingly, not that we just beat it up, but with my two girls, it's kept us close. We have like a quaint home. It was our starter home, but we raised them as babies here. So I see their little baby memories all over the place. And it's got memories, every ding, every nook. We have puck marks in our siding outside from our kids shooting pucks at us. Like, I don't know what it is, but it's just all of those things have memories. And so I really love that. And we've been able to over 19 or no, over about 16 years, it's 16 years, I think this August. Um, we've been able to update things as so like my proof of success to myself where I wanted to see something we did when the timing was right. My husband and I are very smart financially. We'd say, okay, what's our next big goal? And then we would call this interior designer who we adore, and she would say, all right. And they would come and take a room and just completely revamp it. And it feels like a new house. But over time, we look around, we're like, every part of this house we've touched and made better, and it makes us feel proud. So I think that's what I really love is we're proud of our space.
Yes, how lovely. One thing you had mentioned when we were having a nice chat before was asking yourself a question. I think it was like if your house was on fire or if you had to leave suddenly, like what would you take?
Yeah.
Do I have that right?
Yeah, I have a number of friends actually who live down south. They went through hurricane season. I think they're out just around Florida area. They lost everything. She said when she went back after they had evacuated, it was like Armageddon, like nothing was there. And it just makes you realize what really matters. So I feel also blessed being somebody who was a gypsy growing up. I am not emotionally tied to things because I
Mhm.
didn't need that. It was the people. But I know a lot of people are very attached to things and their homes. And so, yeah, I love to think about like if everything were to be gone tomorrow, what are the two or three things that I would make sure I have and keep? And
Yeah.
then you don't need all the rest. We fill our house with so much stuff, like people like me trying to prove to themselves they're successful. It's just stuff. It takes up space. It blocks your creativity. Get rid of everything unless you want to keep it for a fire, like in the case of a fire. Think about how nice it would be easy to clean. I do. I think people need to make space. Your outside world is a reflection of your inside world. Your home is a reflection of how you feel. How well are you taking care of your home? And be
Mm,
honest with yourself. If you're letting that to-do list grow and grow with the doorknob's not right and that paint needs to be fixed, you're saying something about how you're putting off your own care. Stay on
yes.
top of that stuff. Show your home you love it. Show that shows you love you. And just like do that thing now. Don't put it off.
Yes, that's such good advice. And I have to admit, after we were talking before, I was thinking too, like I probably have four Tupperware containers, huge ones full of photo albums, which are treasures to me, the memories of the
Yes.
life. And I have found somebody who digitizes. And
Yes.
so right now on the corner of my desk, I have 10 like old videos, old VHS of family
Yeah.
movies. We're just going to get them digitized. So,
Yes.
yes, you have it all for a legacy and you can see it
Yes.
anytime and you won't risk losing it forever.
Yes,
Yeah.
taking care of your memories. That's so
Yes.
beautiful. You'll have those accessible.
Yeah, that's always been important to me. So something I find interesting when I was looking on your website, and I encourage you, go and have a look at Kate's website. It is kate-hanson.co. Um, it's introspective. It causes pause. And what you help people with and some of the things that you say on there, yes, they're principles for personal growth or success, but I wonder if you could circle around, how do some of these principles speak to our home, relate to making your house a home? How, because I always think if it's a truth in one area, it
Yes.
transfers over. And I think a number of the things that you're an expert in do. So, yeah, if you have a minute, speak to that a little bit.
Yeah. So some of the things that we really try to get across on the site are about the values that we teach and that we express and we expect of our community. And a lot of those are applicable to your home. My grandpa used to make a joke that my mom and her best friend, who happened to meet when they were young, that they always kept a vacuum running idle in the corner. They are both clean freaks, like just they love to iron and vacuum. And it was like a shared love and joke. Even as we were little girls growing up, we called them cousins. Their mom was identical to our mom in the cleaning up. But it was always about leave every space you enter better than you found it. And
Mm,
it was about leaving others with the impression of increase. To me, that's when somebody comes to your home that you want to leave them going, man, I'm so glad I went there. I felt so
hmm
good visiting with them. There's actually a really interesting study. You probably read this as well. We might have talked about it at that conference, but they said one of the number one indicators of somebody having a happy and successful life at the end of their days was their relationships, was the people. That was the biggest indicator, not how much money they had, not what part of the world they lived in, not how much health
mm,
or healthy food or healthy activity. It was their relationships. So if we look at our home as a place to foster and grow those relationships, then we can use that as a vessel for just making the world a better place. And I do believe that we affect how people feel and feelings
hmm
drive actions. And so if
Yeah.
you leave somebody in a good space and you're honest and you have integrity, that all comes across. So when I think about your home, I mostly think about taking care of it as a reflection of not only how much you love your space and love yourself, but how much you appreciate and love the people who come into it.
Yes. I love that. I
Um,
hope you heard that. If you're listening, you might want to rewind, take a listen of that again. Something that I found when I was thinking of taking buyers through properties, you had outlined on your website a few things, and I wrote them down because I thought this is very insightful. I mean, I should send these out to my buyers before they go looking so they could be clear because there's four things: self-awareness,
mhm.
alignment, goal clarity, and then the embodiment of highest desired self. Now you're thinking of it, of course, with your clients and their work. But when I read that, I'm thinking, yes, people need to be aware of themselves and be in alignment with that, which is sometimes hard when you're dealing with a whole family. They've got to be secure about their goals. Can they afford this? Why do they have these goals? Are they on the same page? Because ultimately, it's for your highest and best use, which I talk about in episode 1, because here's the foundation. How do I live my highest and best life? How do I get the most value out of my life? How do I give value in relationships? How does the property make value in, the material world? So I really appreciated those four things. Do you see how they can
Yeah.
even jump over from life and wellness coaching into real estate?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I love the way that you align those. And I just think it's so wonderful if we just stop and think. Like there's so much information coming into us at all times that how many people sit in silence for any time? Actually, there's really fascinating studies about people's fear of silence. They don't want to be alone with their thoughts. That's why we're always scrolling. We're like, what's the next movie I can watch on Netflix? Or we want to get lost in things. And it's almost a fear of alone with yourself, which is losing some of our magic. Our creative
Mm,
imagination pops up when we're silent. And if you're about to make a huge decision, like where I'm going to live, where it's going to be my new home, you should have a lot of time with yourself and ask yourself, what do I want? What do I
yes.
want? And hear what you say. Don't hear what other people tell you you want. I think that that's really, really beautiful. So aligning, yeah, the alignment and the self-awareness, it comes with being quiet.
Yes. Oh, that's hard for people to do. I think that is great advice to wrap up this episode. To go ahead, I dare you to sit alone with yourself and ask, what do I really want? And answer that for yourself. And if it's not the house you're living in right now, then reach out to me because I would like to put you in your own no place like home. Kate, thank you for being on this episode. Did you have any final words you wanted to end off with?
No, I just wanted to say I'm really grateful to have met you, Sue. Your personality, your integrity, your honesty, your communication skills are like spot on. I'm so glad that we connected, and I am truly honored to be on this podcast with you. You are so wise, and I love the information you share with people. That's really helping other people, I promise.
I hope so. Thank you. Thank you for that feedback. And we'll become good friends over the rest of our lives, I know.
Yes.
And I hope you listening will also join the club. And I can't wait to meet you on my next episode of No Place Like Home. Thanks for listening. Take care.